Welcome to Democracy-ish. I'm Danielle Moody.
And I'm Wajatali, and I don't know about you, Danielle, but I forgot my flapper costume and my huge lit cigarette and my cigarette holder at the party that I was not invited to because I was taking my children trick-or-treating and spending an insane amount of money for candy groceries at Lidl, where I was supposed to save money, but everything friggin' is more expensive now. How about you, Danielle?
So, okay, first off, everyone pay attention because I just got breaking news that November 1st was Wajahat's birthday. Okay. It was Waj's birthday on November 1st. He, like myself, is a Scorpio, which is why we get along so well. So, everyone in the chat, in the comments later, wish Waj a very, very happy birthday. Scorpios unite. Did you do something this weekend that did not involve Substack's live?
My family for the first time made me do something, so we did. It was nice. Like first of all, on Saturday, well, I went to my son's soccer game. That was fun. And then my wife's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "I don't want anything." She goes,
Of
"Don't you
course you
want
don't.
anything?" I'm like, "Well, there's a new Goonies Lego at the Lego store." She goes, "Fine." So then we went to the Lego store, and she bought me a Goonies Lego set that made me very happy. And then I got my kids some toys because I'm like an easy like, my wife just sits there, stares at me. She goes, "What's wrong with you? I leave you for 5 minutes. You're supposed to say no." I'm like, "Hey, they asked for toys." And then yesterday, a friend forced me to go to this Tyson Mall. And then like
Mm,
15 people just came by we had food and it was nice. And they're all fellow middle-aged folks. And then that's it. It was really nice.
I love that for you. Happy birthday. I'm glad that you did not work this weekend and
No, I
that
did. No, I worked. I worked on this.
ah
I published two or three Substacks. I worked, but I also did relax a bit. My wife said, "I'll let you watch the football game in peace," and then and I slept, dude. I slept. So on my birthday, I was like, I'll just wake up late." Uh, Danielle, I
mm,
thought I was gonna get up at 11. I
mhm.
got up at 1.
Because you're exhausted.
That
You
was
are
awesome.
exhausted. I'm proud of you. That
And
was good.
Danielle's birthday's folks in 1 week, November 10th.
My birthday is November 10th. A week from Monday, I will be taking the day off because unlike Wajahat, I actually take my birthday seriously, which means that I take the day off, but I will have videos and stuff for you guys. All right. So, you know what's fascinating to me is that today, on November 1st, on Wash's birthday, SNAP benefits for 42 million Americans expired, right?
Mm,
And this is the first time in a government shutdown that the poor, children, families in need are not being taken care of. It is the first time that we are watching in the United States, in a very serious way, the weaponization of food.
mm.
Now, we have said on this show that Gaza is a mirror,
Yep.
Sudan is a mirror. What you allow to happen in places that you may not visit, you may not even be able to point it out on a map, but the things that we are willing to allow to happen to others will indeed happen to you. So while we watched as billions of our tax dollars go to a continued genocide in Israel, go to the starvation of children and families and women and people, because food should never be used as a weapon of war or a weapon of negotiation. We are now sitting in the United States in the midst of a food crisis, a manufactured food crisis because of the GOP, because there is a contingency inside of our Congress that has $5 billion laying around in order to fund SNAP because it's that serious. So when Mike Johnson stands before the press in a press conference and says, "Well, I really wish that we had a contingency. I really wish that there was something we could do, but the Democrats just won't let us," know that that motherfucker is lying as well as he breathes. So to me, Waj, when I saw this, which you sent today, and this is from Representative Malcolm Kenyatta. This motherfucker held a Great Gatsby party while 43 million people go hungry and health care costs keep rising. This is the type of fucking shit that Donald Trump is doing in our White House. I have no words, please.
There's no need for words. Just look at the images, folks. Trust the evidence of your eyes and your ears. Danielle and I have been trying our best to use our limited powers to warn you that we are engaging with the oligarchy. They are like vampires. They're going to suck us dry. They're going to suck us dry and leave the husks behind and then replace the husks with AI. And then when all is said and done, they're going to get in their space rockets and their plan is to go to space and terraform Mars. And my wish for them is good luck. Just go to Mars now. Go on your space rocket and go to Mars right now. But that's the end game. Before we show you these photos, look at these photos, folks. I want everyone to just think about this for a second. As Danielle said, this is a manufactured crisis.
Yep.
The United States has the money. We can fund the food banks, just like we could have funded USAID, just like we can fund and make better Department of Education and public schools. We chose to destroy USAID. We chose to gut Department of Education. Linda McMahon on Halloween, I don't know if you saw that tweet, trolled America and said trick or treat. And she, the head of Department of Education, trolled America about destroying the Department of Education on Halloween with emojis, Halloween emojis. They're cruel individuals. Mm-hmm. They are heedless. They are reckless. Mm-hmm. They are wealthy vampires going to suck us dry. I want people to just sit with that and remember that image of a vampire sucking you dry, or Daniel Day-Lewis drinking all of your milkshake. And they don't care about us at all. They have the money. They choose not to spend it. They relish in the cruelty. They relish in our suffering and our poverty. And as we suffer, as food stamps are about to run out, as the government is shut down, and folks, I can tell you, I'm here in Virginia, people are hurting, right? There's hundreds of thousands of government employees, man. I just talked to someone yesterday. This guy's like, I haven't gotten a paycheck in a month. If it wasn't for my wife and her own business, you know, we wouldn't get by. But then he was thinking about his younger employees who don't have the same rank. He goes, it's impossible to survive, Danielle, in Virginia. It's impossible with that type of an annual salary and without a paycheck. So they have the money. They choose not to spend it. Hundreds of thousands of civil servants are freaking lining up at food banks. Food stamps have run out. And this mother effer, show the video, of the girls.
Oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. Because I didn't want to show the video. I will say this, Waj, because I was disgusted by it. But let me, just keep talking.
So, The Great Gatsby, for those who haven't read,
which I love. I love that. I love it. I love the book.
F. Scott Fitzgerald said it is a cautionary tale. Gatsby was a cautionary tale. Mm-hmm. It is about insane wealth disparity during the Roaring 20s, where the oligarchy of that age was reckless, violent, cruel, selfish. And there's a great quote, which we have, but I'm going to play the dancing. Oh, sure. Just want everybody for a moment. This is the White House. This is the people's house. When Barack Obama was president, he would throw events to bring poets and musicians and to showcase the best of American arts and American culture. This is none of that. This is what Donald Trump had. At the fucking White House.
Oh, really? Shut up.
Very Christian. That's very Christian behavior.
Yeah. Susan, to use the word disgraceful, there has to be bigger, darker, more even horrible words than shameful, disgusting, grotesque, insane, cruel. Like, I don't know.
At Mar-a-Lago, I just wanted to give a correction. At Mar-a-Lago.
I'm sorry. At Mar-a-Lago, not at the White House, but it might as well be, right? It might as well be.
That's the future. That's the future. That's what's going to happen at the White House in the White House ballroom. And look, go ahead. Read this quote. Great quote.
Yes, here is the quote. And again, The Great Gatsby. I love the book. Have loved all the adaptations of movies. but it is about this disparity, this sick disparity that was very much on display as we had the rise of the industrial revolution in the United States, this obscene wealth gap. You had the titan, quote unquote, titans of industry. You had slums all over the place. We had no workers' protections, no workers' rights. Like, it is so on the nose that Donald Trump in this moment would throw a roaring 20s party, because it was roaring 20s for some, but pain for most. And so here's what is written by F. Scott Fitzgerald. They were careless people. They smashed up things and creatures and then retreated back into their money or their vast carelessness or whatever it was that kept them together, and let other people clean up the mess they had made.
I mean, on the nose. It's some people said, are they trolling? I don't think they're trolling. I think sometimes, they're so oblivious. It's a cult, and it's a cult which is shielded from the horrors and brutalities that they inflict upon others. And I was talking to someone yesterday about just in the establishment. Do they see? Do they understand? And a friend of mine was saying, he goes, I don't think they do. I really don't think they do. They're surrounded by yes men and other individuals who fillet them verbally and perhaps literally, and give them the worldview that satiates their appetites and protects them from discomfort. And I say this because you saw this in the past 5 years, the anti-woke crackdown by the rich, the 1%, right? They refuse to acknowledge it. They refuse to look at it. Even when I've been in these situations, instead of saying, maybe we might be the baddies, they say, no, it's the woke college youth. It's them. They're crazy. So I don't think they were trolling, folks. If they were trolling, I would give them credit, because it's like something that there's a level of awareness. I think they're that heedless. I think he's that heedless that he would not.
But here's my thing, Waj, because to say that they don't know what they do is to allow us to continue to perpetuate their long-standing adolescence, this carelessness that F. Scott Fitzgerald spoke of this naivete, this idea that like somehow they're stuck in this toddlerdom. And for us to continue to say like, well, they don't really know what they're doing. They're just so mindless. They're just so this, then. No, they know what they're doing. You know what you're doing, Christy Nome, when you decide to cosplay as a fucking ICE agent, but get your hair blown out and make sure your lashes are on. You know what you're doing, Pete Hegseth, when you decide to put in a studio into the Pentagon, because it's more important to look good on TV than to actually have morale inside of the department that you're running. You know what you're doing when you smash up history right in front of us with no tarp, no nothing, just ripping out the guts of the White House for all to see that you get to do whatever the fuck it is that you want. Like, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
So
and
my edit to that is I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you, but there is a level not of childishness and naivete where you're so in the bubble and you're so heedless and you're so removed that it's almost sociopathic. And that's where I see Trump. Like, I honestly think Trump, he's like, huh? What? Snap? Whatever. Anyway, let's party. Huh? What? It reminds me of, if you remember, this is a deep cut. Occupy Wall Street. And there were all these folks in the aftermath of the housing crisis. And they were outside of Wall Street, literally protesting. And they panned up and you saw all these chutias of Wall Street sitting there like partying. There was a Wall Street party, like, why? And then they interviewed them like, why are they out there? It's not that bad. So it's one of those situations where I completely understand that, there's a performative aspect of MAGA where the cruelty is the point, and that's part and parcel of Trump. And when you get so ensconced in a bubble, you even lack the awareness of how this looks because you don't care. That's what I'm saying, Danielle.
Okay. All right. Okay. Fair point. And let's just more proof to the pudding of the you have no idea. So
there you go. That's my point. This is
right.
my point.
So I said this at the end of last week on the Danielle Moody Show. I said, for those of you who love CBS like my parents do, who love 60 Minutes and would go there for in-depth investigative reporting and all of these things, understand that CBS has now been gutted. over the end of last week, every single person of color, every single Black person has been fired. Every single one. Producers, writers, hosts, they're all gone. All of the shows that they have canceled, they fired the people of color that were working on them and then reappointed the white people. And a Black man, a producer, went on TikTok and said that he went to his boss at CBS and said, "So you're telling me this wasn't your choice?" And he's like, "No, I got to choose who I wanted to continue working with. So I chose people who I've worked with longer who were all white." He went to every single one of his Black colleagues and every single one of his white colleagues. And he's like, "And you're supposed to tell me this is a fucking coincidence
And he
that
said
they're
yes.
all gone?" And
he said yes.
And the boss said yes. So they are playing in our fucking faces. And I say, you show them the utter disrespect back, cutting the cord, letting go of CBS, ABC, these outlets that have not only capitulated, but they are celebrating and uplifting white nationalism and white supremacy. And that is the vantage point, the perspective from which you're going to get your news moving forward, is a propaganda station. That being said, Donald Trump, in a highly edited interview on 60 Minutes, highly edited.
Well, tell him, before you move on, tell him why you stress it's highly edited.
Because they said it because everybody on social media pushed back on it.
But the lawsuit, right, with Kamala Harris?
$16 million. 16 mil. So yet another place, because it was ABC paid out 16 million, must be the lucky number. ABC paid out 16 million because George Stephanopoulos absolutely incredibly called him an adjudicated rapist. CBS has paid out $16 million because of the edited video that they say was done for Kamala Harris, and that wasn't fair and blah, blah. So now Donald Trump, not only did he get this, and a couple of weeks ago, his son-in-law got another cushy fucking 60 Minutes expose with his dad about the ceasefire in Gaza. How's that going, by the way?
Terrible ratings, by the way. That Kushner-Witkoff special interview, which was a coup for Barry Weiss at CBS, horrendous ratings.
Right, but they don't care about that. So Donald Trump sits down, Norah O'Donnell, to talk about the economy. And you just take a listen, okay? And you tell me, first of all, if you think that Donald Trump is all there.
Just hit an all-time high. We're doing really well.
Can I ask you, Mr. President, on that point, though, when the stock market is doing well, that doesn't affect everybody. Not everybody's invested in the stock market.
It does.
But there have been grocery prices
no,
are up.
401ks. People have 401ks. Their 401ks are double what they were a year ago.
But for people that don't have 401ks or are not invested in the stock market,
but
they've seen their grocery prices go up, inflation.
No, you're wrong. They went up under Biden. Right now, they're going down. Other than beef, which we're working on, which we can solve very quickly.
By the way, this face is a face of exasperation.
She's like,
right?
how
like
I got
in
bills.
The right place.
I got bills to pay. That's what she's thinking. I got bills to pay. I got kids, college. How long can I pull this off? But you're complicit. First of all, he lied. Number one. Number two, when I was talking about that callous disregard, that cruelty, that ignorance and that cruelty. See, it's all the above. I don't disagree with Daniela. It's performative, it's cruel, it's intentional. And then get to a point where you're so removed from the people that you live within your own bubble of callous disregard. That's my point.
Yes.
That's where I think with the Great Gatsby party, and as this is happening, he goes, okay, well, everyone's got 401k, whatever, invest in stocks. And she's like, what are you talking about? This is the same man who said groceries. Have you heard the word groceries? They're coming back. This is who he is.
But here's the thing. This is the mentality. And we're going to talk about Mamdani later because tomorrow is election day and the record numbers have been huge in terms of early voting turnout. But this is the disconnect between these people that assume everybody has a 401k, right? No, everyone does not have a 401k. And as a matter of fact, right, there are roughly close to 1 million people have been fired, right, in both the private sector and in the public sector. Close to 1 million people. And we're not done with this year yet. So you're talking to us about 401ks. And when she's telling you people can't actually afford groceries, right? Like you've cut SNAP benefits, you've furloughed a bunch of people who are now on lines at food banks. Nora O'Donnell did not do a good job, nor do any of these mainstream corporatists do a good job because they're too busy trying to keep their job rather than actually do their job, which is to push back with facts and allow the president of the United States to answer the fucking questions.
And they don't do pushbacks. They don't do pushbacks. They don't do follow-ups. They don't stick doggedly. All you have to do, if you want a really good viral moment, on that point alone, Danielle, you just sit there, President Trump, you're wrong. Right now, it's the record price of beef. It's a record price. No, it isn't. Yes, it is.
But
President Trump,
have
I'm
it go
sorry,
up.
but
Yep,
the government is shut down and people are at food banks. Show me the photo. Here's the photo.
Here's the
Well, it's under
video.
Biden. Nope, this is yesterday under your administration. President Trump, the latest data has come out that you're negative 31 on the economy.
The data is wrong.
The data is wrong. Another poll came out just today that you're negative. That poll's wrong. The job
poll
market
is from
is
Fox,
contracted.
Mr. President.
Those numbers are wrong.
Right. It is one, I agree with you in terms of the bubble that Donald Trump is kept inside of, and that all of MAGA is kept inside of this bubble that they have created that is the antithesis of facts, right? Like facts are kryptonite to them. They cannot touch them. They cannot speak them, otherwise their heads will explode. The point of journalism and the fourth estate is to continue to put their feet to the fire. As Nora O'Donnell is asking those questions, you have people in the graphics department that should be like, and here are the numbers. This is where we are. This is not made up, Mr. President. This is poll 1, poll 2, poll 3, poll 4, poll 5, right? Like all the polls can't be wrong. So what, if you have different information, please share it with us. Where are you getting your information from?
The best people, Daniel, the best people.
And then, so speaking of people that are not the best, Jake Tapper, who says to Trump's economic advisor, Trump hosted a GAPC themed party while SNAP runs out. I've heard Republicans even express concern about the optics. Besant, Obama played more golf than any president. And Tapper, let him go. Let him go. Didn't push back. What in the absolute fuck does that have to do with the fact that people don't have food today, that Obama played golf 15 years ago? Because that would have been my response. That was 15 years ago.
Sir, even if that were true, how does that excuse Donald Trump and Republicans throwing a Roaring 20s Great Gatsby party with dancers as American civil servants are standing in lines at food bank? Well, Jake Tapper is auditioning for CBS. I'm telling you, folks, he's auditioning for Barry Weiss, who he's chummy with. He sees where the wind is blowing. CNN is trying to become like CBS, all of its right-wing propaganda. So he wants to keep his job, which is why he's doing the both sides and being tough on the Democrats. Just watch the space. All these old guard folks like Nora O'Donnell and Tappers and everyone else, they want to stay in their seat. They realize they can't do anything else now. They don't want to go the way of Don Lemon and Joanne Reed. So you're going to see more of these softball, both sides interviews for the next 6 months, as literally one side supports Nazis, the oligarchy, and is cutting our benefits and making billions of dollars through crypto and grifts.
And, folks, and you wonder to yourself, well, what are the people actually feeling, right? Where are the people right now? And it makes sense in terms of what the Supreme Court is getting ready to do with the Voting Rights Act come 2026 in the summer, when the decision will be made to gut Section 2. It makes sense when you're looking at these races that are happening right now, in gerrymandering, but not in the new wave gerrymandering that they're trying to institute, when you're seeing Democrats win special elections, be up in places that they would normally not be up in, because guess what? Republicans and their policies wildly unpopular. You look at this ABC Washington Post Ipsos poll. The approval rating for Donald Trump is at 41%. I mean, honestly, this is within the points of error. I believe that Donald Trump is way below that. He was at 39, 38, 37, again, depending on who you ask. Disapprove? 59% of people disapprove of this president, and we are 10 months into his first year, second term. Generic ballots, 46 to 44, Republican, Democrat. Trump's net approval. Look at the numbers. Waj goes through this every single week. Every single week. Gaza, -6. Crime, which was supposed to be his big thing, -11. Immigration, your next big thing, -13. It's a new low. Russia, Ukraine, -21. He was supposed to end that war on day one.
Yep.
The economy, his other major thing, Republicans' major talking point, -25, new low. Managing the government, well, I think that Republicans in the House have worked about 15 days in the last 3 months. -27, new low. Tariffs, -32, new low. Most responsible for the government shutdown, 45% say Republicans, 33% say Democrats, and not sure of the 23%. I don't know where the fuck those people are. Like, head in the sand, I don't know, or up their ass. But these numbers, not great.
And also, folks, this is before the big beautiful bill kicks in and the permanent tax cuts for billionaires goes into effect, which adds more than $3 trillion to the debt that our children and grandchildren will have to pay off. And those tax cuts are paid by a $1 trillion sledgehammer to Medicaid. Once Medicaid gets essentially dismantled, you're going to have Trump voters die. In rural counties, hospitals are going to shut down. Rural nursing homes will shut down. Seniors and children will be affected. And folks, this is on top of the economy, which in most states, analysts say is in recession. This is also as the price of groceries and meat is going up, as people are fleeing America, as education is being decimated, as foreign students are no longer coming to America and paying full price for what used to be the creme de la creme education, as our experts are being poached by Europe and China in scientific research and AI and technology. America is rapidly descending into a shithole. And I want you all to remember that image I gave you at the beginning. Vampires sucking our blood. This is by design. They want to suck it all up. They want to take it all for themselves and their families. They are no longer invested in America. They're not invested in humanity on Earth. They're not even invested on Earth. If you read the oligarchy, the technocracy, the techno-fascists, the J.D. Vances, the Peter Thiels, the Elon Musk, the Andreessens, the Horowitzes, the Curtis Yarvins, they believe it's a wrap. The Earth is done. Humanity is cooked. So their job is, as stewards of the human race, as those chosen by God and Valhalla, they will repopulate humanity with their seed. I'm not making this up, but on Mars or terraformed. And furthermore, they will live forever because they don't deserve to die. Dying is unfair. So much like the Pharaoh, they believe they should stay alive forever. That's the exact quote of Larry Ellison. Why should I die? Larry Ellison and his Nepo baby who've taken over TikTok, CBS, and are making the bid for Warner Brothers. So they want to, if you will, merge with AI and technology and live forever. And they believe AI will not only replace human labor, also it will give them their private military firm that will protect them against the human revolution, because they can't trust private military forces because they're human beings, right? And they think the private military forces will turn on them. So AI gives them their soldiers, AI gives them their workers, and AI allows them to augment humanity and live forever. That is the end game. And if you don't believe me, look at the Hunger Games that are happening right now. SNAP benefits are about to run out. I just want to, we're gonna show you the cruelty of it all. All right, we brought the receipts. Danielle, show them the cruelty.
Yeah. So just before this is on the way to the cruelty. Mayor Karen Bass out of LA, as critical SNAP benefits are set to run out today, family source centers across LA are offering emergency financial aid, food support, and more essential resources to help during this time. Emergency financial assistance available. I have been posting on my own Instagram for folks in New York and those around New York, where there are rotating food banks every single day of the week. Here, federal workers are lining up at food banks in the Washington, D.C. area, as Waj has said, because that's where he is, to receive critical assistance for their families, as hundreds of thousands of furloughed government employees brace for the second month without a paycheck. Second month. Okay. And I talk about this all the time on the Danielle Moody Show, that most Americans, if a $400 emergency bill were to come due, cannot pay that. So you tell me how many people can go for 2 months without a paycheck and pay their mortgage or pay their rent, their utilities, get food on their table, etc. This is obscene. Okay. And no one should work a full-time job and not be able to do any of those things, right? And that is the majority of people that are on SNAP, yes, are in fact working full-time jobs that don't pay enough, because guess what? Our minimum wage has not risen with the rate of inflation, has not risen with the cost of living. And so people are stuck. And so you look at this, and I just
There's some breaking news real quick.
Okay.
The Trump administration says SNAP will be partially funded after judges' rulings required the food aid program to continue. That is 16 minutes ago from the Associated Press.
Partially funded. And what judge was that? Was that out of Oregon? What judge was that? Do we know?
I remember. I want to get the quotes. Let me find. I will get it to you. Keep going.
Okay, say that again, but it was breaking news.
Breaking news that the judge recently said that SNAP must be funded. So after the judge's rulings, Trump said today, 60 minutes ago, it will partially fund SNAP after a pair of judges' rulings required it to keep the food aid program running. U.S. Department of Agriculture had planned to freeze payments to SNAP starting November 1st because it said it could no longer keep funding it due to the shutdown. The program serves about 1 in 8 Americans and is a major piece of nation's social safety net. It costs about $8 billion per month nationally, and specifically, nearly 42 million Americans rely upon it.
Okay, and this is again what is
here at noon. There were actually cars lined up, federal employees that needed food. It's just very heartbreaking to see many of my fellow federal employee colleagues out here needing food, and I just hope that they're able to get what they need.
A lot of people, this is their first time ever accessing a program like this. Our 2025 hunger report just recently came out. We were already seeing around the DMV a 36% number of food insecure folks in the area, which is about 1.5 million households. So that's before the government shut down.
Most of my colleagues, they work in the federal government over 20 years plus, and they don't know what tomorrow is going to bring for them. And it's kind of, what is going to happen to me tomorrow? I'm not secure anymore.
I'm not secure anymore. And
go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
No.
I have the answer for you. Federal judges in Massachusetts and Rhode Island ruled separately, but similarly Friday, telling the government that it was required to use one fund with about $5 billion to pay for their program, at least in part. The benefits and administration cost over $8 billion per month. Folks, I want you all to know, before Danielle continues, this is a choice. Do not give the Trump administration any credit for partially funding SNAP. They only did it after judges came out and said you had to. And even then, they partially funded it. And as they only partially funded it, Donald Trump found $40 billion to bail out his friend Milei in Argentina. And that video that you just saw, that's what's happening all around DMV, because they're government employees who literally have not had a paycheck. And furthermore, they're so cruel that Russell Vought, the co-architect of Project 2025, OMB, the director of OMB, who's a shadow president, is now working a way to make sure that they don't even get their back pay. Back in the day, they used to get back pay. Now he openly says he wants to be cruel. He wants them to suffer, his words, right? So he's gutting people during the government shutdown because that's all part of Project 2025. This is who they are.
On top of which, right? So in one of the most abundant countries in the world, many always ask on this show and on others, why do we even have food banks? Right? We should have the ability to feed, to house, and to clothe all of those who go without, right? Because that's how our society should be set up. Because the fact is, folks, is that, again, we have been conditioned into believing that poverty is a personal failure and not a systemic one. And we have been pushed into believing, right? Indoctrinated into believing that wealth, right, is is personal success, right? That to have somebody that has more money than multiple nations combined is somehow what they deserve because of their personal quote unquote genius, and not because of broken systems that do not tax them at the rate that would help the most marginalized. We have been indoctrinated to take the crumbs from both Republicans and Democrats because they both suckle on the same corporate tit that stops them from being able to actually want to have the will to do for the people. This is the reason why Mamdani in New York City is so popular right now, not just before the socialism policies, right? But the fact is that people are looking around and they're saying capitalism doesn't work. How am I working? I'll tell a brief aside, Waj, a brief aside, if you give me. This weekend was Halloween weekend, Waj's birthday weekend. I went out east to go visit with my family on Long Island. And I'm hanging out with my younger cousin who's about 26 years old and his girlfriend. And we run into one of their friends. And she is a special education teacher, also working 2 side jobs because as a special education teacher on Long Island, she does not make enough money to actually be able to live on Long Island. She is working 3 jobs, 1 full-time job and 2 part-time jobs in order to be able to live on Long Island. That is obscene. And people will say, oh, well, then just move. Move where?
Where?
Away from your family, away from your friends, away from the life that you built, right? Oh, and people, and again, Republicans, oh, these people need to get jobs. No one should need 3 jobs just to be able to fucking survive. And again, that was the lie of the rise of the gig economy. Oh,
there
these
you
are
go.
people doing side hustles. No, that is once again a failure of capitalism. That tells you that, oh, yeah, you should work a 9 to 5, right? 40, 50, 60 hours a week. And then on your weekends, which you only really get a day and a half of to rest, you should then either be driving an Uber, working at a grocery store, blah, 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 blah. And then, by the way, oh, you get to retire at 65 and die within 10 years because life expectancy has gone down 3 years in the last 5 in the United States.
The top 1% now controls as much wealth as the entirety of the middle class. The only reason the economy isn't even tackling further is the top 10% is spending. The rest aren't. Jobs are contracting because the private sector isn't hiring. All of our resources are going into AI tech centers, which would gobble up all this water and real estate and electricity. Electricity prices are going up. Climate change reports are terrible. We're not investing in the infrastructure. They don't care. They're building bunkers for themselves, throwing roaring 20s parties, and they believe, and they've always said this has been a key feature of Republicans. They think anyone who needs help is lazy. What they say is, you don't need that iPhone. F you. Get rid of that iPhone. Eat that iPhone if you have to. Make iPhone soup. If you don't listen to me, I have a few receipts because I want you all to see this is how they think of you. And I want you to be inspired with righteous rage. This should fill you with a righteous rage. I think Danielle even has a video clip of this. This is a senator. This is a Republican senator.
Yep. This is okay. So John Oliver calls out Trump for refusing to fund SNAP, which, by the way, breaking news for those just joining, because of 2 separate rulings by federal judges. Donald Trump is capitulating to funding SNAP partially, which again will go against the judges' rulings because they said nothing about partial. They said fund SNAP because you have the money to do so. And I want you to listen to what John Oliver says here and what Tommy Tuberville, one of the most stupidest members of the Senate, and now the
So dumb.
coolest, listen to what he said.
Majority of them are white, about 39%, PJ. Yep.
And it goes on.
This is just deliberate cruelty. Just deliberate cruelty.
But it gets better.
Continue.
Because the USDA sent out a notice to retailers telling them that they are prohibited from offering special discounts to customers affected by the SNAP funding lapse. Someone wrote, I'm aware of at least 2 stores that had offered struggling customers a discount, then withdrew it after receiving this email. The retailer notice, reminder, SNAP EBT authorized retailers must comply with SNAP equal treatment rule.
What more do you need to see? They're gone out of their way to make other people cruel. That's what they've done. They've gone out of their way to ensure that literally people who want to help these workers can't help workers. Like, it takes another level of cruelty, a sadistic glee that you take, a sociopathic joy. And furthermore, if you don't believe me, I got these are all Republicans. I'm not even talking about the trolls, folks. Well, there are not trolls. They're both synonyms, right? But here's a Representative Clay Higgins. All right. He says there are 22 million American households receiving SNAP benefits for groceries at $4,200 per year on average. Try to get your head wrapped around how many pantries you can stock with $4,200 in properly shopped groceries. Any American who's been receiving $4,200 per year of free groceries and does not have at least 1 month of grocery stock should never again receive SNAP because, wow, stop smoking crack. Stop using your iPhone. Tell your kids not to have a Coca-Cola once in a while. Even Marie Antoinette said, let them eat cake. These mother effers are like, why cake? Why are you so spoiled? Oh, no. Eat splinters.
I mean, and look, again, the cruelty is in fact the point. And just again, I want to play this clip because we talk about the fact that there are food pantries. Food pantries are struggling right now because they are not able to fill the gap that is being created by this SNAP shutdown. Now that it's going to be partial, right? But I just want you to listen to what people are saying.
How long is this sustainable?
Wow. It's not. It won't be from the first day. For every meal that a food bank provides, the SNAP program provides 9. There's no way we can meet that gap. There's no way we can replace every single one of those meals. It is not sustainable for food banks to fill this gap. We were not built to do this. We will stand out there and we will do our very best.
All they can do is their best, but knowing that, guess what? They can't fill the void. They can't meet the demand because that's not what they were built to do. They were built to be supplementary to what the government is supposed to provide for the most vulnerable. But do you know who the government is providing for? Oh, Waj, I know that this is your favorite friend. Tell them about Cash Patel.
Hey, guys. Hey, I'm Cash. I'm going to enter Valhalla. Hey, why aren't you letting me in, Charlie? Charlie, it's your buddy Cash. Sorry, let me be petty.
Amazing.
Brown chickens for Colonel Sanders. Oh, Cash Patel. A troll with 0 law enforcement experience who was tapped to be the head of the FBI because he's Trump's loyal soldier who before the election said that he had a hit list of enemies and they would go after them, and they have gone after them. And, there's a saying, before we talk about this, there's a saying, do you have the photo? In DC, folks, the saying is the following. If you're a 4, like Cash Patel, and he's a 4, and you see a 9 come to you, you have to be you have to walk away. I'm not making this up. Because in this town, they say if you're a 4 and you specifically work in the government and an 8 or a 9 approaches you, I'm talking about, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, like a really good looking woman. Most likely that's a honeypot. That's a spy. That's what they say. I just want to throw it out there because Cash Patel has a very young, aesthetically pleasing girlfriend. And folks, to just to get you really pissed off, we just spent the last 50 minutes talking about how the American oligarchy vampires are sucking us dry, how the Trump administration is literally using hunger as a political bargaining chip, how they're throwing lavish parties, how they're giving billions of dollars to Milei, but they say, oh, we don't have the money to fund USAID and SNAP. And as people, as we've seen all the videos, as our government employees, unlike Kash Patel, who are educated, informed, have experience, are literally worried about eating, Kash Patel just last week was caught red-handed grifting off the American public by abusing a $60 million FBI jet and taxpayer money for a wrestling date night with his much younger girlfriend. Specifically, it landed at Pennsylvania State College Airport on October 25th. That's the same day that the 45-year-old Kash Patel's 26-year-old girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins, was performing as a country music singer at the Real American Freestyle Pro Wrestling event at Penn State. And so Patel literally used a private jet, taxpayer money, to go see his girlfriend perform. And the logs also show that his jet left the Penn State Airport at 8:03 p.m. and then landed in Nashville soon after. Nashville is where his girlfriend lives. Can't make this up.
I want to scream, but I won't because I don't want to hurt everybody's ears. But like, I wish that was just it.
Nope, there's more. There's more.
It's not. It's not, because Ice Barbie had DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, buy not one, but two luxury Gulfstream private jets that cost, folks, $172 million. Okay, so you got Kash Patel taking $60 million flights. You got this one buying two planes for $172. You got Donald Trump, who now the cost of the ballroom after he has demolished the East Wing of the White House is now up to $300 million, being funded, brought to you by CEOs and oligarchs and corporatists, as well as taxpayer money. And this is all while, right? What is it that Democrats are fighting for right now? What is it, right? And it is this very clearly. Donald Trump has paid $40 billion to Argentina, $1 billion to upgrade a $400 million Qatari jet, $172 million for Kristi Noem's private jets, $230 million that he wants the DOJ to pay him for being credibly investigated and indicted because he's a criminal. $200 million for the ballroom, which is now up to $300 million.
There you go.
And again, what is happening to the American people? Take a listen.
An older couple out there who's making $85,000 a year. That's not billionaires or anything like that, but that's a higher earner in this case. Here's their current premium, $7,225 per year. That's 8.5% of their income. That's sort of the top end under the current rules. Under the change, if it expires, that will jump to $25,000 per year. That's almost a 30% increase. That's almost 30% of their income, not an income, 30% of their income for the year. That's a tough thing if you're making $85,000 a year.
30% of a couple making $85,000 a year, a couple, not individually making $85,000 a year, combined making $85,000 a year. If the subsidies, the Obamacare subsidies, are not continued, their health care for the year goes from $7,700 a year to $25,000, which is a jump from 8.5% of your salary going to health care to now 30% going to health care.
You're wiped out. That's what's going to happen. You're wiped out. It's over. It's over. And that's the plot. They want you to be poor. They want you to be sick. They want you to be dumb. They want you to work until you die, or work until you're so desperate that you commit crimes. And guess what, folks? I always remind people that the big beautiful bill, in addition to giving permanent tax cuts to the richest people on earth at the expense of our healthcare, because this doesn't even factor in when Medicaid gets cut. They found $170 billion, billion dollars, not for SNAP, not for USID, but for ICE, for more ICE agents and for more private prisons and detention centers. So now it's not just going to be black and brown bodies in prisons and detention centers. Prisons and detention centers are hungry. They need to eat. They need bodies. So you're going to put all these bodies in those prisons. You're going to get free labor, and they're going to do this until they find a way to replace us with AI. And some other news, because that was a CNN clip from 2 hours ago. We started off the show with the latest polls that came out yesterday. Washington Post, NBC, last week was Economist. There's a CNN poll right now. New CNN poll as of today, Trump's approval rating for them, Danielle, what you were saying, hits a record low of 37%. They say 32% say the country is doing well, 68% say the country is doing pretty bad. So that number matches The Economist, and I think that's where we're at. I think he's not in the low 40s. I think he's in 37, 38, which is remarkable that no other president, he even beats Trump one, that Trump one even had slightly higher approval ratings. And this is the honeymoon period.
I mean, but what does Donald Trump continue to do? Well, he continues to pardon criminals. Why? Because it's good for his bottom line. In the 60 Minutes highly edited video that was done over the weekend, Nora O'Donnell, here's another piece, says, why did you pardon Zhangpeng Zhao?
CZ.
Okay, why did you pardon CZ, right? CZ is a cryptocurrency billionaire. He was in jail because it was brought to his attention that people were using his site in order to, guess what? Traffic children, traffic drugs, and he did nothing to ensure that his platform couldn't be used for nefarious behavior.
Well, so Daniel, it's even worse. He pled guilty to money laundering. He admitted it. Great. He was in jail for money laundering. He was in jail not just for sex trafficking and weapons trafficking, which is terrible enough. Terrorism. That's what oftentimes crypto is used for. Even the founder, if I may, real quick, people forget, I don't. During the beginning of his term, Donald Trump also pardoned Russ Ulbricht, who was the founder of the illegal digital hub Silk Road. Silk Road is where they use crypto to fund assassinations. You can buy assassinations, sex trafficking, weapons trafficking, drug trafficking. So this dude pled guilty to money laundering for these types of offenses and terrorism, was serving time in jail for pleading guilty to money laundering. And then last week, Donald Trump pardoned CZ of Binance. Well, it just so happens that finally now, I'm glad O'Donnell asked this question, Binance and CZ are business partners with the Trump family. They are business partners. They helped facilitate the purchase of World Liberty Financial, the crypto firm that the Trumps have started in his second administration that has netted them at least $5 billion as everyone else is going sick. Sorry.
And what was Donald Trump's response to Nora O'Donnell's question about why he would pardon a money laundering trafficker? Oh, I don't know him. I don't know anything about it. Here's the thing. I know nothing about it. They want you to believe he's a genius. They want you to believe that he knows everything about money. Get a businessman to run the country like his businesses, which went bankrupt 7 times. They want you to believe that Donald Trump is the all-seeing, all-knowing Oz. And yet, when faced with basic questions, if you don't know the man, you don't know his backstory, then why the fuck would you pardon him? Oh, that's right. Because your portfolio now, your crypto portfolio is larger than your real estate portfolio. $5 billion.
It's all projection. It's all bullshit. Biden didn't know what he was doing. He was just signing things through AutoPen. Your king and your daddy is openly telling the world he has no idea who CZ is, who is a fraudster in jail. And furthermore, he went ahead and just pardoned a man that he doesn't know for reasons he can't understand or admit.
But
so that means either he's lying or he has dementia. Both are bad.
Both can be true. And the Wall Street Journal apparently does know who CZ is, does know what Binance did, because they wrote, this spring, Binance took steps that catapulted the Trump family ventures new stablecoin product, like we've been saying, enhancing its credibility and pushing its market capitalization up from 127 million to over 2.1 billion. Trump granted CZ a presidential pardon last week, likely paving the way for the world's largest crypto trading platform to return to the US from where it was banned after the company pleaded guilty in 2023 to violating anti-money laundering rules. At the time, the government said CZ had caused, quote, significant harm to U.S. national security by allowing sanctioned Iranian crypto exchanges, Russian drug traffickers, Hamas militants, and other criminal groups to move billions of dollars through the exchange. Are we great yet? Unclear. And then, not to forget about JD Vance and what we all saw last week with him and Erica Kirk, and who we think the runner-up to Donald Trump is going to be, and the love triangle that is happening right in front of our eyes, where we believe that Erica Kirk is going to be floated as the potential First Lady of the United States. We just need to get rid of, his Hindu wife. Please tell them about Nick Fuentes again and what he offered up in response to the TPUSA event.
Folks, Nick Fuentes is leader of the Groyper movements that came into popularity for trolling Charlie Kirk for not being extreme enough. Nick Fuentes is a neo-Nazi. Nick Fuentes supports and praises Hitler. Nick Fuentes is an America First white Christian nationalist. Nick Fuentes sat with and dined with Donald Trump 2.5 years ago. Kanye, when he went hardcore anti-Semite, brought Nick Fuentes to that dinner with Donald Trump. To this day, Donald Trump has not rejected Nick Fuentes because, according to reporting, he realized he would alienate part of his base. So what you saw is this. The Southern strategy was used to court racists, but you kept them in check. Kept him in check. You kept him in check. Then the Tea Party happened. You kept him in check. You kept him in check. Then Trump happened. You kept him in check. You kept him in check. Now neo-Nazis have happened. You keep them in check. Now they've taken over. And Nick Fuentes has gone after JD Vance. Man, he calls him, his latest was, you're a gay, overweight, chubby Jeet. Jeet is the word they use for Indians, right? And then he said, these are the questions at JD Vance's TP USA event where he caressed, or all that stuff happened with Erica Kirk. Is Trump controlled by Israel? Why are you fighting Thomas Massie, who wants a release of the Epstein files? How is it America First to support Israel? Why did you marry a Hindu? Explain your connections to Peter Thiel's Palantir. The Groypers have taken over. We run this. I completely agree. And furthermore, what I'll say is the Heritage Foundation. This is some big news from last week. I know folks don't follow right-wing media and politics, but thankfully we do. I just want you all to, this is important. Give me 30 seconds on this. We've talked about the growing civil war in the MAGA movement. And we've talked about how one of the best hopes of our democracy is to let them fight. And we called this, if you've been watching our show. We said, watch out for Nick Fuentes, watch out for the neo-Nazis. They're going to take over. They can't contain this force anymore. Heritage Foundation is the conservative pillar, the think tank of the MAGA movement, which is the official author of Project 2025. We published it. Heritage Foundation's president, a couple of days ago, Kevin Roberts, did a video looking right at the camera, openly saying, we will not abandon Tucker Carlson. Well, why did he have to say that? Because the MAGA elders were all really pissed off because Tucker Carlson has made peace with Nick Fuentes. He hosted Nick Fuentes. They're like kind of had a meeting of the minds, a shaking of the hands, and everyone's like, how could you still support Tucker Carlson? He had this neo-Nazi on. And Kevin Roberts embraced Tucker Carlson, did not throw Nick Fuentes under the bus. Then there was massive pressure from the Indian Americans for MAGA and the Jewish Americans for MAGA, who were completely complicit the entire time. And Danielle, I'm sitting here drinking my tea. I'm saying, I told you so. Leopards eat faces. What you gonna do? And just about an hour ago on Twitter, Barry Weiss of CBS reshared a video done by Ben Shapiro calling out Nick Fuentes and the Groyper movement. In addition to hating Charlie Kirk, they also hate Ben Shapiro. They're also anti-Semites. And Ben Shapiro said, there's no room in our movement for Groypers or Nick Fuentes or blah, blah, blah. And Barry Weiss said, this is it. And I had to retweet, Barry, this is the present and future of the GOP, and you helped create it. Leopards eat faces. I hope I was able to connect the dots. That's my take on this, Daniel.
So here's the thing, right? As we close out today, where are Democrats? What are Democrats doing while there is a civil war brewing inside of the Republican Party? Are they working to take advantage of it? Are they showing a united front, a united message at this time that the American people can get behind? No, they are not. Because Hakeem Jeffries went on CNN, and Hakeem Jeffries, much like Chuck Schumer and the rest of them, need to go. They need to be primaried. They need to go. They are useless. Hakeem Jeffries says Zohran Mamdani is not the future of the Democratic Party. Jake Tapper, do you see Mamdani as the future? Jeffries, no. I think the future of the Democratic Party is going to fall as far as...
Sorry, those are my kids. Forgive me.
It's fine. Party is going to fall as far as we're concerned relative to House Democratic Caucus members who are doing a great work all across the country as it relates to our need to both take back control of the House, but in doing so, make sure that we're communicating blah, 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 blah. Okay. This is Hakeem Jeffries, who in the 11th hour decided to endorse Zohran Mamdani. There's a reason why establishment does not want Zohran Mamdani to be mayor. They don't want to give lifeblood to democratic socialism. They don't want to give lifeblood to actually fighting back against corporatists. They don't want to give lifeblood to anybody that's able to have a meteoric rise to become mayor of New York City, who didn't rely on donors and PACs organized by billionaires. And so here's where we are, folks, as we close out today. The Islamophobia, wild. I'm not going to read all of this.
But, it just gives me joy. I will read it because these mother effers are having a meltdown. It's the world's worst Islamophobes. I chose these three on purpose. They have made life miserable for Muslims and Arabs, and now they're making life miserable for everyone else. And look at the collective meltdown. Their tears are sugar for my chai. Mamdani's going to win, most likely by double digits, but if not, that's okay. He's going to win. And whatever happens afterwards, I don't know, but he's going to be the first Muslim American mayor of the great city of New York. And these people tried their best. Oh, they tried everything, Daniel. They threw out a Bill Clinton. They brought Bloomberg with his millions. They had New York Times, Lawrence Summers, initially brought out James Clyburn. They backed the disgraced man that they rejected, Andrew Cuomo, and said, we would rather have this sexual predator than this brown, dark heathen Mamdani. And he's Hamas. He's a terrorist. He's this, he's that. And New York City said, now we like him. We like him.
So for the first time, views of capitalism have slipped. According to NBC News, they still say, socialism is unpopular, and that's because most people don't know what socialism is. But just look at the numbers, right? What voters are feeling, because this is what's important. Mamdani, who was an unknown, trailing behind a legacy candidate, has managed to court the hearts and minds of a diverse group of New Yorkers. I mean, this man has spent the last weeks of this campaign everywhere and anywhere, inside of clubs late night to remind people to vote, at gay clubs, Latino clubs, Caribbean clubs. He's been at senior citizens Tai Chi events. He has been at the marathon. He is on the ground, knocking on doors. This is, leather sole friggin' politics that we have not seen. And so when you look at these numbers and you say, voters' feelings about capitalism for the first time beginning to lose faith in this system because they are realizing that it's rigged and the stories that they have been told are lies. and that they are working 3 jobs just to keep their nose above water. And Donald Trump's tariffs on top of the ending of Obamacare subsidies are going to put most Americans in that food line that we showed you earlier today, or make them homeless, right? It is going to get more painful.
Yep.
It is going to get incredibly cruel.
Yep.
And the American people's eyes are going to be forced wide open to see who has been applauding this, who has been holding up broken systems because it has benefited them and no one else. But now the harm isn't just on the blacks. It's not just the brown people. It's not just the trans folks. It's now hitting everyone. And it's time for the people, in my humble opinion, to hit back. Final
Folks,
word to you, Waj.
Final words is we still have the numbers. Do what you can. Tomorrow is a major, major day, especially in California, Virginia, New Jersey. Vote. In New York, vote. Don't take it for granted. Vote, vote, vote. They are just as committed, even though they're a minority, but they're zealots. If a majority is flabby and disinterested, the zealot minority can carve through us as if we were warm butter. So try your best to please get up, vote, do your part, and also use your dollar, boycott. There is a cancel Spotify movement right now, and it's been going on for the past couple of weeks, and Spotify has felt the pain because Spotify, along with all these other social media companies, is promoting ICE ads as ICE is terrorizing people, shooting people at food banks. But that boycott, canceling and deleting the app, it has hurt their stocks, Danielle. And the religion of America is capitalism, and the religious holiday is Black Friday. Just do a bit of research. We'll talk about it next week. And inshallah, we're going to talk about boycott. So we have the numbers, we have the dollars. Make it hurt. And also vote for the right people tomorrow. And finally, you've seen corporate media fail. We're independent. Danielle and I take no money from anyone. We have no paywalls. We're terrible capitalists. Everything is for free. You're watching this most likely on Danielle's YouTube channel at Danielle Moody. Please subscribe. Get her to 50,000 subscribers. Or you're watching this on my Substack, The Left Hook, or Danielle's Substack, Damn Digest. Again, no paywalls. If you can, please become a subscriber. It's free. And if you have a few dollars, give it to Danielle. She has to feed her dog. And then if you have a few dollars left over, I have 3 cats and 800 kids. Let me feed 1 cat and half a child. But if not, inshallah, it's okay. Do what you can. And we're going to be back, I think, Wednesday at 3 p.m. for our midweek check-in. And I know Sam's watching. Sam, I'm so sorry. I was supposed to talk to Refuse Fascism's great organizer and host, Sam Goldman, at 1, but she's been waiting. And Sam is going to talk about how Refuse Fascism is going to try to march people and get people out in the streets, especially as SNAP is only partially funded and the government is shut down. So we will be I'll be with her in 1 minute.
All right, folks, and I will be back at 5 p.m. Eastern for the Danielle Moody Show live. So do check us out. Go to Waj's Substack now, The Left Hook, for his continuation. He does a marathon, folks. Marathoners ain't got nothing on Waj and his Substack. Thank you, folks, for supporting us. Amazing donations, amazing memberships that came through today.
Thank you all.
We will see you on Wednesday on Substack at 3 p.m. Eastern. Be well.
And vote.
And vote.